So hello guys, it's time for the next stage of the worlds. It's stage 5 already, and I luckily ended up in a group that plays pretty fast, even though we are in a bit of a different time zones. There's players from Canada, China, and then Europe, me and wolvs. So the first 4-player game is now finished, and yeah, we can take a look at that, and then the other one is also coming to a close pretty soon. So yeah, first of all, yeah, all of these players have won the upper leagues thus far. I mean, wolvs is a very strong player from Ukraine. I think my heads-up score with versus him is quite bad. I think he's just dominated me in at least 3 players and especially heads-up games. But let's see if I can overcome those problems and maybe perform a bit better against him in this stage. And then there's Wanderlust from China. I haven't played him, I think, at all before, but obviously since he's still in upper in stage 5, so is obviously a strong player. And HCsquared. I don't think I played him either. So the Glico is Wanderlust in 94 and HC in 200 basically, but those are not to be trusted anyway. There's maybe a bit of a less games for those players, and obviously, yeah, just the performance based review of the players is that they're quite strong to even be here. I actually pulled the 4-player rankings as well. So for me, 4 players is obviously my bread and butter. It's even higher than my overall ranking. It would insinuate that my 3-player and 2-player rankings are a bit lower to reach the total of 15 as my overall ranking, but 4P is quite strong for me, at least as per this TTA rating. And once more, Ruby Booby needs always the shoutouts for this nice tool. So without further ado, I think we take a look at the first 4-player game. So I'm in 4th seat in this first game, and that means that the second game will be in 1st seat. And so that's the mirror image of the one game is the seating order for the second game. So here we have obviously Hammurabi with some strong HA wonders for him. There's Roman roads, Stonehenge that require selections, and then there's maybe Sansu Ziska synergy, also Suez Canal with Columbus, and even Cook. So Columbus, Cook, and Suez all present. And what else? Ocean liner, obviously. Railroad, but no what. Gandhi, if there's you need some extra defense in H3. Moline, but no Hollywood. And then Gates with spaceflight, internet empire. So yeah, a strong mix of leaders and wonders. HC goes for Alexander, which is maybe a bit curious. I mean, Hammurabi with all of Sun Tzu, Caesar present could be a bit tricky, but in 1st seat probably still very playable. So I would probably go Hammurabi still. The wolves, I think, quite happily picks Hammurabi with stockpile, even though it might happen that HC could get Sanzu or Caesar. Oh no, he took Alexander. So yeah, once he already got made for Alexander, even though you can straight push with him also. It's, the usual use for him is just to replace or send him away. So yeah, quite the easy Hammurabi pick. Wanderlust then goes for Zanzu with the urban growth. I think that's standard, I suppose. That's Stonehenge, that is strong. Go for the henge with Moses maybe, or the urban growth. But maybe Wanderlust has some military approach. I haven't really studied the way he's played before, so maybe he could be a bit of a early strong player or not. So it didn't leave me maybe the best option. I don't want to. Yeah, the other players actually all have a leader already. But yeah, what else is in there? Would it get a bit weird? And there's no Cleo anywhere, or both of those female leaders are not in the row even. But in the fourth seat, I think Moses is quite fine. You might need some population to put into military, so I think Moses is just okay. And then about the rest of the civil actions, if I take something from second area, I sort of miss one action. So I just went for the Rome roads. I mean, there's a bit of a synergy with Moses. You can get some more cheaper population, and in general, that's just a nice one there. But I wasn't like super happy about this pick. But yeah, probably second option would be to go for Stonehenge and Richland or something. But I just wanted to have a leader already that I can just elect and start using. So HC goes for the Stonehenge population and election. Wolves then get a real nice start. There's even EGA and for one. So the usual stuff. EG and Acro. I mean, Acro maybe not the absolute greatest wonder in 4P, but still very playable. And with Hammurabi, strength doesn't really hurt. And yeah, Acro still, since Gates is very strong in 4 players, if you can survive with Acropolis to H3, it could be a very sick Gates, and that's a bit of a synergy. And also the Spear, so still playable, very playable wonder. Next Zoo, Lab, Pub, and Hanging Gardens. So maybe it's a bit stereotypical, but I think Chinese players in general favor Hanging Gardens quite a bit. So maybe that's just not an exception, or yeah, just a nice pick for one, and maybe have some military in mind. So for me, I want to elect Moses. I want to pop. I want to build the lab, the mine, and take one card. So there's a lot of cards to be choosing from. But I think I just wanted to leave Cengiz. He's the first leader from H1. Maybe make it a bit more awkward for HC. So Wanderlust would be my preferred pick probably, but Frugality with Moses it's just not bad. So I wanted to slow the row down a bit. But maybe it's yeah, it's quite unlikely that it's drawn maybe a tactic he can use with Genghis Khan, so maybe it's not the biggest deal. But then again, yeah, you might go into some early culture with Genghis, and yeah, but maybe it's not the most important leader to just control whether he falls down to 1 or stays on 2. But Frugality is still useful for Moses, so I just took it. Draw Immigration and Knowledge of the Ancients, probably playable. It doesn't stand away Alex. Goes with Lab, Pub, and Irrigation. So she has a project, no, still has the project Stonehenge, and then can go for some extra food. So I generally like that. Wolves then builds a lab, gets out of corruption. There's some more leaders coming down. There's Saladin and Ziska. Let's see if there's a, yeah, there's actually a very early Saladin. Obviously, they work basically the same, but then again, it's one more military action to be used. So an early Saladin could work out just fine, even though it's for 3, but then again, there may not be that much to do. There's probably masonry, it could be nice. But with the EG, probably not the best one right now. And yeah, hasn't drawn a tactic for Ziska, and maybe, yeah, Saladin is a nice leader. When he pops out early, you can just give a lot of value, and probably in the early game you can just take the civil action anyway at all turns. Starts building the wonder. Wanderlust gets open borders accepted by HC. So they the players with most strength now, but yeah, it could still get a bit weird at some point, maybe if there's some strength push. Since Sun Tzu, he actually reveals heavy cavalry, and that probably means Genghis will be gone. So it was for early Genghis. Take some more food, builds mine and pots. So maybe if there's even yeah, it takes at least some turns to get 2 of those, 2 more warriors, but it's still in a couple of turns he might be might have some more strength. I see that knowledge of the ancients. Yeah, immigration with hang gardens in play, it's maybe not playable at this hour. There's some more population, which is not the best with Moses, but still okay. So yeah, at this point I was looking like, yeah, there's wolves already committed to a leader, Wanderlust also committed to a leader. There's Ziska for 2, but I necessarily don't want to take Ziska for 2 with with only HC being able to take him. But then again, I also don't want to drop him down any further, so just leave him on 2 and then hope to maybe get it next turn. And then again, I don't have a tactic drawn yet, so I didn't want to commit to 2 for 2 civil actions anyway. So that's meant for 2 populations. Just use Moses, build lab, and take masonry. So masonry is still very useful for me for the Roman roads, and I think it's just the best one out of those cards for me. So let's see if Ziska will be taken. And actually now draw Phalanx, so now I'm really hoping for Ziska to still be there. But it appears HC that hasn't drawn any tactic he can use with Ziska, and also the heavy cavalry doesn't work at all. So just goes for Isabella. And also helps with corruption. He can, rather than doing something, he can just take a card with those blue cubes. So the way it went, I was quite happy. Finishes aggro, pops, early iron, population. So I'm gonna go for the iron next turn. So nice start for wolves. Wanderlust seeds, there's planning, there's actually development of civil life, science, or politics. It takes science. Goes for the first knights, even though you don't necessarily need the knights with Genghis, but then again, you may wanna still have it. It's easier to transition if you have knights. You can maybe then build either knights or warriors to get the strength bonus. So while it's still basically the same if you go for swordsmen or knights with that tactic. Easier to, as said, easier to transition if you go for knights. And also didn't want to necessarily give me the knights for 1. Or even for 2. Starts going for those, but can't go for the tactic yet. So for me, I decided to see the immigration. I will be taking Brand Circus, so there might be a way to play around the immigration. And also Wanderlust hasn't even started with Hanging Gardens yet, so I felt confident enough to push the immigration. There's some more resources, so 1 food, 1 rock, and 1 science from the deck. And even with that, I was I just want to also push to maybe get some help. This may not necessarily have helped, but it's still okay. I can just pop out of corruption, which I do. And then I just decided to take Grand Circus, Breakthrough, and Ziska. So I'm in no hurry to elect Ziska, but like this, Wanderlust goes for the strength push. He's gonna have a lot of strength, but like this, if things are bad, I could even go for knights for 3 civil actions. If things get bad, build 1 and reveal the tactic and be able to defend. So I was willing to just skip the swordsman here and just take a lot of other good cards. So yeah, if there's knights even for 3, I'm in. If there's a dire situation, I could just go for that. I draw Reign of Terror and Rats. Rats could be interesting, also Rain could be interesting. HC just takes swordsman. It's the cheapest way to get some more strength. Starts working for the with Wander. Wolves then builds even a third lab, which is maybe a bit greedy, but maybe it's a plan of getting some more defensive power. You may just has to go for even cheaper monarchy, which helps. And also swordsman and bread. So he is making some preparations for the strength push, and with 3 military actions could possibly defend if he has some cards. And also he could then go for Saladin strength also. Wanderlust seats, there's 3 religion. Iron is taken. Yeah, Wanderlust even builds a knight, pushing a lot of strength now, up to 10. So yeah, they have the open borders with HC, so he must be very careful, and also the other players must be quite careful. So I decide to seed even the Reign of Terror. I will be getting knights this turn and will even be quite strong, so I was quite hopeful that I won't get hit by the rain. There's even warfare, so that makes it so that my turn is quite strong. I got the 3 religion and 3 warrior, so nice to have voices. I still have 3 population available. I will go for 1 more population, and then I can elect this guy. Take knights, even go for 2, and show tactics, so making me strongest. And then I have 3 CA still. There's still 19 cards in the deck. I still need to finish the roads. So there's actually knowledge of the instance is in, but without help I won't be able to finish it like this for sure next turn. So I might be a bit careful with the card row movement. So after all, I ended taking warfare. That could still be useful if I go for Republic or something at some point. And in last seat, warfare is still quite nice. Don't have to compete for the strategy. So it also doesn't move the row, so that's why I go for that. There's the other warfare taken. Goes for it. Pops. Gets some swordsman. Upgrades. So it's able to respond to strength quite well. While building the Wonder also. He must probably finish it next turn. So wolves then doesn't see it, is the weakest. Can pick up a nice Silk Road, has stockpile. They can go for with the bonus. Population, swordsman, 1 swordsman straight up. And shows a tactic. So it's safe from aggression, please, but is weakest. Wanderlust went for the strength push, but everyone was able to defend, so just see it. And at least like this, he's not gonna get hit by barbarians, he's just the second strongest. Gonna go for the iron. But it isn't, I mean, he probably has to take reserves here, since he would be left with 5 rocks. and no guarantee of getting the hanging gardens ready. So has to take reserves and frugality. I'm still strongest. I wanna push the rats. I have used a lot of food with Moses, and I then can't just skip going for food before rats are revealed, even though it might take some time. And also there's liner masonry, so liner could be a nice one in a way. But there's also immigration in the deck, so I want to go for arena. And like this, masonry, it just cost me 2. So I prepare for immigration and leave 5 resources for next turn. But there's only 11 cards left, so I still need to be a bit careful what I take. But I looked at the other player's turns. HC has to finish the Stonehenge. Wolves might build some steps for the Silk Road, and Wanderlust probably finishes, and that's his whole turn, if there's no help. So I was quite sure that I can take some cards at least, and I wanted to take some resources from the row. There's alchemy, but I don't want to go for it for 2. There's another copy, and even this one might be available for me next turn. Draw some more stuff to seed. The tactic I won't be using. HC does have the fighting man. Finishes the henge. Actually can't go for the code with it. Just missing 1. Yeah, he actually missed some civil actions also to go for code. And also science. It just goes for some more food. Was then a nice breakthrough with silver bonus. So rich land. Population. The upgrade is still the weakest though. And starts by developing the iron for next turn. So he's still weakest, but has some things he can work on. But has to take solid info for strength, so not the best look there. Wanderlust seeds as uncertain borders, probably seeded by Wanderlust, but I was able to even surpass him in strength. So I get rewarded. Just plays the reserves and finishes the Wonder. And that is the whole turn, so yeah, it still helps him make his happiest, but not maybe the ideal way of doing it. But also he's not missing that much. He already has alchemy and has knights, so it's a fine turn. Has to take corruption though. Acid Crusades, just while I'm strongest. Get the immigration with Wanderlust. Well, he was just able to finish the gardens in time, but it's still fine for me. I finished roads, and that's the alchemy. I can still go for that next turn. And then I was thinking about the last civil action. With immigration, I had some extra population, 1 extra population. I just wanted to get it to work right away. Just put it in another mine. Like like this I'm not getting code, but then again I'm a bit low on science. I will be going for alchemy, but it's just maybe some more turns before I can go for the code, and maybe I want to go for a government rather. So just have some more rocks, and all my population are doing something. And also maybe like this I won't have to go for the iron. And yeah, get some instant value. Draw some colonies at least. That's the knowledge. Population. You can now go for code. Another upgrade. And knights, there's my tactic, which could be a nice one. And maybe works also with some H2 tactics. So yeah, prepares for some strength in H2 and has nice resources, nice food. Still lags a bit behind in science, but maybe if we can find an early scientific method, it could still be a very playable position. H shifts, so let's take a look at the scores at the end of my turn. Upgrade to iron, arena, another upgrade to iron, so fixes his happies and gets some more production. Takes patriotism, yeah, probably the best card out of those. It's still the weakest after this turn, so maybe, yeah, just takes the selection rather. Wanderlust seeds again, there's the rain, hits wolves. It's actually quite annoying for him, doesn't have a free population, can't really lose in the military, so probably has to lose either a mine or a lab. Gets the code. Can still go for alchemy next turn. Builds another warrior and another warrior. So with the hanging goddess, he has so many happy faces, he can even push for a lot of strength now. So, well, we all are in danger. Maybe I could build something to be able to defend for sure. HCsquared is quite bad. He has the pact with Wanderlust, open borders, and wolves is generally the weakest. So yeah, while it costs something, it does cost another upgrade to his mines, but it still gives a lot of pressure to the other players. So I did not want to commit to seeding any colonies. I don't have any defense cards, so I just wanted to refrain from pushing. Rather, I have a nice way of using my turn anyway. Yeah, it's nothing that would really hurt me. I'm one of the two strongest, but I just didn't want to commit to seeding a colony. There's also Suez coming down, so maybe could be playable. Even another upgrade. And then, yeah, after this, will be in corruption range. So I decided to take iron just to escape corruption easier next turn. I mean, I would be interested in maybe taking Suez Canal if I even draw a colony that could help me get out of corruption, but I just wanted to have a sure way of escaping corruption. I draw a colony that could be, well, interesting. Is it enough to maybe take Suez? If it's not taken, maybe. So last alchemy is taken. I mean, obviously there's scientific method on the row, but probably doesn't want to pay 3 civil actions for that. Even though let's see what else he does. Yeah, he can go for it right away while taking cannon as well. So yeah, if he wants to take the cannon, then it's probably not too great too. But yeah, he could probably just take cannon and scientific method and then maybe build a unit. Let's see what he did. Yeah, it would get him out of corruption. So it's late alchemy and there's scientific method on that row, so I'm not sure about this. So wolves has to destroy. Well, he doesn't have to destroy. He lost a lab to the Reign of Terror and then decided to destroy a mine to go for a unit. So he needs to respond to the strength push by Wanderlust, but that's obviously very costly to destroy a mine. And actually takes some reserves. This takes one of those reserves, maybe could have maybe taken another one also, but that's only from mage. Yeah, it's from mage 1, so yeah, this is just fine. Just be a bit more efficient with his civil actions. Could still, maybe if he finds something like architecture, could still use it to finish the Silk Road. It takes the Saladin strength, so probably, yeah, he is guaranteed to defend. Well, not actually, because he has those match reactions were from patriotism. So yeah, while I played my last turn, I couldn't really defend for sure, but it's obviously possible that I have 2 defense cards, so it would be a bit bad if I got raided or something with those alchemies. But I just realized that that's HC is likely target anyway, since he has +9 with the pact against him, so I felt relatively safe since there was a likelier target. But Wanderlust has obviously a nice colony in hand, probably from H1, so decides to go for the Suez. Yeah, he can take EG with it, also some more food, and starts building a step. So like this he can finish next turn. So the mines are delayed, but then again, depending on what colony is in his hand, would be still quite nice. So yeah, my turn. I'm not one of the two strongest, but not the weakest. I decided to see it. I think it was wealthy territory 1. I had only colonies to see that freedom of movement was just drawn. So I decided to see it. In part, it could be a nice, nice boost for me. So yeah, I was just gathering my thoughts on this. Yeah, that's navigation on the row. So I was willing to see the colony. I didn't want to see any of those other colonies. Maybe I think that could be the least contested one. So that'd be a nice bit of a rock boost I might prepare for. So I decided to see the wealthy one. But coat of arms was revealed and I lost one civil action. Luckily I can still play the iron and upgrade once. That gets me out of corruption, and then I just grab the navigation. Yeah, if I had one more civil action I just would have upgraded another mine, so this definitely slows me down a bit, but still not too bad. And the freedom of movement might be a nice thing to push. I draw hussars, but that may not be too great. There's the upgraded heavy cavalry. Then there's international negotiations that while Genghis Khan is still alive, I think it's kind of iffy to play. But army century could be playable. I have some nice production. Okay, let's see. HC goes for popping, lab upgrade, some science, so like this he can afford a government next turn. Wolves seeds is one of the two strongest, and there's scientific breakthrough, which is obviously very nice for me and HC. Probably seeded by HC, since he seeded something just a while back and just went for alchemy rather than waiting for scientific method, so that's probably the reasoning for that. So wolves 6 architecture finishes the Silk Road and grabs celebrating. Yes, we remember rats are still in, so let's see if rats are revealed before or after. He can go for the selective. Wanderlust then doesn't try another aggression, maybe doesn't have one. Could maybe, or would maybe like to try it once more against HC. But at least he's rewarded with some culture from the deck. Played by me actually. So now he can finish Swash and he has Vast Territory 1. So not the absolute best one, but obviously a big boost, and with the frugality he took, he can just get a lot of value out of that while still being on those small farms. Takes Conmon, which I was not maybe too happy about. I could have gone for it. I mean, obviously that's one of the reasons. Probably took it, but there's also Republic coming down. So I decided to see it. I seeded the freedom of movement. Just to have it in there, I have a large population, maybe. It's nice for me since I have four people in my mind, so maybe it could be a nice way to maybe put it somewhere else. And there's Republic, so I just want to go for that. And then there's Yeah, I need to get out of corruption. Can do it by upgrading 2 mines. And then I take cannon. So that was actually the pestilence that had to be evaluated now. So while I have four mines and just destroying 1 mine could be fine if there was nothing else to do. But as we can see, after those mine upgrades, I still have 10 resources left. Had I destroyed the mine, I would have only 9. And it makes all the difference if there's ocean liner, even for whatever civil action, I can just take it and finish it next turn. So that's obviously better than having 1 more happy face and 1 more culture, even though that could be. I would have liked to keep the religion. I'm not saying that, but like this, I just want to have the 10 resource next turn. And now I draw some more of those defense cards. So like this, having seeded the wealthy at least, and Wanderlust maybe could have seeded something since he went for Suez. So now if I just find a time to go for the navigation, it might be quite strong in those bidding wars. HC takes team spots, builds 1, plays the rev, and takes another card. So like this, he can escape being weakest for now. Maybe doesn't want to really build another swordsman. He maybe has obviously has no tactic yet to commit to either knights or cannon. There's another territory developed. I'm sitting behind Genghis Khan player, so I couldn't do anything for that. Could have bit something maybe, but not like this. So wolves takes Newton, goes for the deserted breeding, and actually rats is the next event in the deck, so not the best timing, but then again it was probably what I wanted to do anyway. And there's HC has some food production, so he knows he hasn't played the rats in, but it appears I played it, so let's see. Takes cannon also. There's the pact. And yeah, he just colonized, can't really easily rebuild the unit, so has to settle for not getting the Khan culture now. But at least he can find himself a nice Harvard, and with the reserves he can finish. But doesn't take rifles, so can't have everything. So now the rats are revealed. I lose the 2 food I had for ages. But wolves obviously loses the food right after going for the food. So not ideal. And HC also loses 1 population basically. So for me there's a couple of ways to maybe approach this. I mean, strategy would be a nice card, but then again I took the warfare. I don't want to pay 2 for strategy. And now that the rats are gone, I just felt that going for the food is just best. Gonna go for full food and take rifles still. And yeah, maybe the urban growth could be nice to have, but really not worth skipping more food upgrades. And air rifles, just good overall, and with the arms industry in mind. So the ocean liner stays in the deck still, and after going for this much food production anyway, it might not be that great, but then again there's also red grass, so it would be nice to maybe have both selective and ocean liner maybe. But at least, even though wolves lost a lot of food, he gets a big food boost as well as me. So HC starts going for the coal, but also goes for Cat 3. I would have quite liked to have Cat 3 myself, so I don't know if that played a part in there. Since like this I will be losing this, so I'm basically forced to go into warfare. But there are another many more leaders to choose from. It skips the other upgrade at least to coal. Obviously it's just wealthy. I bid one knight and my cards. So once more it wasn't totally sure that I could defend if I lost too much strength. Wolves can actually go for 2 scientific method upgrades with reserves and architecture, so that's a nice boost. Also the strategy can go for it next turn, and also weapon growth. So he's upgrading his stuff quite nicely, but he's obviously on just 2 iron mines, even though gates, if he's early, could help. So doesn't want to commit another worker into iron just yet. Wanderlust then pops a couple of times, rebuilds his army, even another knight, goes for irrigation, upgrades, reserves, upgrades another mine, so it doesn't go for the Harvard College yet, but just goes for more food and rocks. And notably it doesn't elect cook, so obviously he doesn't need card for any strength. He has knights, so it was definitely a sign of iconoclasm in this current deck that has 4 cards, or maybe an oversight, but maybe not too likely. I think I seeded Ravages earlier. Yeah, I seeded Ravages last turn. Yeah, we can discuss that. First there's immigration, now this turn I seeded arms industry. So the Ravages might, well, it doesn't affect too much HC, but wolves will lose aggro, and having a nice discount for maybe democracy and nice science production, that will be gone. And then obviously the main target for any Ravages is the Hanging Gardens. The age will end soon, and then he might be in a bit of a slump for those happy faces. Yeah, this turn I said that arms industry. I was not gonna develop a military technology this time, but maybe next turn. Yeah, then it was about what I wanna do. I mean, obviously the play by Wanderlust is very ICO centric, There's really no other reason to delay electing cook other than that. But then again, there's still 9 cards, well, a lot less cards in the deck after my turn, but it's still possible for it to come out before the age ends. And that's I was strongest also, but I was definitely seeding this turn just to push the deck and maybe reveal the ICO. So I still want to go warfare, playing last seed with two military actions just doesn't work. So I went for warfare, popping, and I wanted to add another lab. Then I copy into the heavy cavalry, wreck one unit, rebuild it as knight. Take Darwin, go for Darwin, take all those cards. Yeah, it isn't without a problem. I mean, I could hold on to Ziska, go for Maria, or just take Darwin in hand, I suppose. But I still wanted to, since there are still cards in the deck and probably everyone else also sees that ICO might be in this, or is very, very likely in this deck, so might be going to push anyway. So I want to have the option to save civil action here, just selecting, and maybe ICO won't hit, and if it does, then it does. And with those breakthroughs, I have 6 more science for 2 civil actions, and I'll have even possibility to go for both navigation and a military tech next turn. I've drawn vast territory, but probably not gonna risk it unless I'm sure to get the navigation online. So because it could be a big boost to Wanderlust, maybe most of all. So HC seeds, test the ravages. Upgrades coal, pops, develops knights, builds knights. There's another efficient upgrade. So notably it doesn't take Republic, even though he could afford it next turn. So I'm not sure if that's totally correct. This ocean line map, maybe it's a bit late. Wolves increase population, builds an arena, also builds another iron. Yeah, it's a bit too much hinging on getting gates early if he were to not do that. And he lost acro, so can't easily go for those for a 4th scientific method if needed. Naturally goes for the strategy and takes a cab. So Ocean Liner quite notably is gone. No one was interested, but I mean it was one of the last cards from the deck, and everybody has a bit of a food solution already, so it will drop off. Wanderlust seeds, he's the weakest, but then again he's at this point trying to fish out the ICO so that he can elect cook. But he's a bit in an unlock here and just reveals freedom of movement. He actually doesn't do anything with that, just finishes Harvard, goes for cab, takes opera, architecture. So he's low on science, but maybe if you can get those out, Could be nice to build some cheap operas, but that's some ways still down the road. He can cough up that much science. And yeah, just it's 100% sure now what the top card is, since he doesn't elect. So if he played it like this, I mean, it could have worked better, but now it's just a bit annoying for him. Even though he can next turn get the cook online, and maybe other players won't have a leader online that soon. So it still works somewhat, but still not great. I see it. Refugees, actually, I was still willing to see it. I didn't need Darwin's ability this turn to do my turn. And if I didn't see it, then I would get 3 culture for Darwin, but wouldn't get the 2 for seeding. And I just make sure to be strongest for now, after seeding refugees in the deck. So I pop, I build another arena to be strongest. I naturally go for justice system, helps with the blue cubes and civil actions. And I take railroad. Just for maybe strength. It's quite nice for strength reasons and masonry, and I have strong science, so maybe there's a nice oil early enough or at a good time. So yeah, I was willing to go for the railroad. Still has some nice potential. And take patriotism as the last card. I was a bit hovering between, I suppose maybe it's building the first 2 steps. But I wanted to have the most rocks for next turn if I find something else to do other than finishing the wonder, even though that's probably the best play anyway. But I just wanted to have the patriotism, since I'm just on 3 military actions. And I did actually do warriors into knights with the freedom. So I was playing around with some place where I put warrior into Brennan Circus, since I will be building a Brennan Circus. But I realized I need the military actions most, and just having already another unit in cover in knights, it makes it easier for me to fill up another tactic at some point. And if like this, I can also use the urban growth and have more rocks for next turn. So I wasn't willing to put a mine into anything, since I just wanted to have the most rocks possible. And the small mine is then, if needed, easy to disband. HC seeds, but no refugees at least. And there's the arms industry just right away. I didn't find time yet to go for any of those other military techs, but at least got two rocks for the knights. This computer, he can go for it and get out of corruption. He's still on just 5 civil actions, so have to be a bit careful, but with the computer, he probably can then find a government form quite easily. And he is strongest for now, so maybe let's see what comes out. There's some more culture, pretty even. Wolves has civil service to take, which is obviously a very big boost for him. gets him out of corruption, so we can take some cards. So a nice turn. He actually puts swordsman into iron with the freedom, so he's now even weakest, so there's still the refugees. But it felt like probably he has some nice science, some nice food, but it's a bit lagging behind in rocks. So decides to risk being weakest to put another worker into iron. We haven't checked the overview in a long time. So let's see. It's in the middle of round, but maybe just to get an overview of things. And there's some strong rock production, strong food production, and okay science for everyone. Wanderlust with having had Khan is a bit of a culture lead still, and the rest of the field is quite in the same ballpark with the culture. Wanderlust seeds, there's another strip tree seeded by most likely Wanderlust, and he's actually also willing to bid his whole army, but it appears he doesn't have any defense cards. So I was willing to bid basically everything, I suppose. No, 3 units and those cards, since it's quite strong for me. I would have to find some new people in Happy Face Solutions had I not went for this. So it's just the army and one card, which is super strong for Wanderlust. So I was willing to bid quite heavily on this. Wanderlust goes for Cook, goes for even Opera, and the first copy of Air Force. So I actually have only colonies to seed, and that's unseedable. So I still made sure that I can rebuild back into being strongest. So with the patriotism I can do it. Let's just play the pat and add those 2 units. Now I'm strongest again, and then the spear. Yeah, having lost leader to Ico, I think having early replacement is quite vital. I have 8 civil actions, so it's still fine. And yeah, actually, before I colonized this one, I was actually in range where I just pop once, and then I'm in discontent workers. So if there was Mandela, then well, there is Mandela, but I was prepared for maybe Mandela also. But Pierre was there. I just go for him, elect, and take one efficient upgrade if there's coal, if there's nice oil. So yeah, I have some food stored up, but I really couldn't commit to International Red Cross, and now like this, it's practically guaranteed that it will be gone by next turn. But can't have everything. I don't draw anything else to see it, at least. Yeah, I had drawn earlier the shock troops, which is rarely useful, but in this setup it could be quite useful. And the war, but with reactions could be a bit hard. Tourism offered, and it takes spaceflight, but that's basically it's done. And has a tactic. Wolves tries to have some military protection, but that doesn't get accepted. has a nice Mandela play. And now all of a sudden he's on 8 selection as well. His population builds cab, takes Revadia and reserves. So as it appears, the row doesn't move, and there's actually a possibility to get red cross. So Wanderlust pops, builds another theater, goes heavy into culture, takes demo. Yeah, last turn I made sure to leave myself with 17 science. So now the demo is taken away, which I think is probably correct. Computer, I would have liked that also. Still a lot of semi-hate drafting. And goes for another knight, but his weakest. I have nothing to see it anyway. And this turn was even quite tricky when I spent a lot of time, at least in my own mind, that was a lot of time for this turn. It was mainly if I need to take air force or not. If I could maybe take tanks and then defend with shock troops. But it was quite clear that I want to go for Red Cross. As we can see now, there's Wanderlust is starting to develop a bit of a culture lead, so I need to respond some way. Maybe war is not very feasible with these production levels and military actions. So I definitely want to take Red Cross. And then at the end, I just realized if I go for Red Cross, I will have less population. So just having air forces is the best way to defend. I mean, this was the very first turn that I saw is probably take air force, go for it, and take Red Cross. But I still went for the extra mile to check other options as well. But as we can see, there's actually HC doesn't have the food to build a step. Also, Wanderlust doesn't have food to build a step. He could maybe get a research from the row to get the food, but that would be a bit not that CA efficient. So only wolves has food to build a step, so I don't necessarily need to build any steps this turn. So just go for the air force, develop it, pop, build one, take Red Cross. I'm strongest once more, and I get some nice boost next turn with the food. I draw impact of science, but yeah, both computers are gone, and if there's no multimedia in my head, I can't really go anywhere north from my 6 production, so probably just nice knowledge, but unseeable. Finally, it was for Funda. Upgrades mine, takes reserves, endowment also. So if he gets Air Force, it's gonna be at least in the 60s or 70s, his strength. Wolf seeds as well, and yeah, it was a bit of a cat and mouse play, who's strongest each turn. But yeah, at least I don't lose it, and I think this is quite bad for Wanderlust. He has to lose a pup, and he has nice resource, but doesn't have the most science, and definitely not that many population to work with. So it still worked out quite fine. Goes for cannon and prof sports, shows tactic. Can build some more happy faces for Mandela, and also cannon. step. So yeah, this is a very efficient turn. Wanderlust seeds, and there's actually another colony. I was willing to bid at least something for this, but not all in. I think 1 unit and 2 cards was the bid. But it would be nice since I don't have any impact I can see. But like this, it's quite costly for Wanderlust here. So 2 units and 3 cards. And after getting hit by the refugees, he's now very low on population. Takes their idea. Can go for Air Force. So yeah, he's probably not in that much of a danger of a war just now. He can easily at least build another army with Air Force, but doesn't have the most population to work with. Takes multimedia, does probably part hate draft, destroys a lab, builds another Air Force, so he's not the weakest. So for me, I don't have anything I want to see it anyway, and I'm weakest too. So just finished the Red Cross very efficiently, so masonry has done a lot. There's oil, can just go for that, upgrade 1 iron to oil, then break 1 tiny mine, put it into Air Force, be strongest once more. Yeah, then there was 3 cards that I considered. There's movies. There's 1 more movies in the deck. And there's 1 more multimedia in the deck. And so yeah, mainly at first it was between 3 cards, but then I realized I probably don't take the movies here. So then it was if I need the military theory or not. And while it could be fine to have, but also the urban growth works in many ways. It could give me a very cheap broad sports. So I was just willing to not take military theory. I wouldn't be taking it away from HCsquared. So like this, the first one will be discarded, so very likely it will be in actuality discarded from the game. So I wouldn't be denying it from HC anyway. So just decided urban growth is the most flexible card for me. And also I don't have the most science, so I still may have some other stuff to do. But yeah, I could see also military theory just for added security. And with the Red Cross, I'm just within 13 culture for now, and I have a nice oil economy going, so I started to like this game at this time at the latest. Yeah, there's card seeded from HC, and actually Wanderlust will lose a colony, which is not great. He can actually just lose the wealthy one, so it doesn't do that much, but then again it's one less rock and 1 less culture. And if I had somehow seeded something, it would have been very annoying for me to lose the inhabited too. So HC takes multimedia and jobs. Has some nice rocks to use. Oh yes, he has the space flight, so yeah, that's why he doesn't take 1 down. There's both internet and fast food on the row, but seeing that fast food is just cheaper, I would expect wolves to take the fast food. Pops a couple times, goes for the fast food, goes for demo, has to build some more science to afford it next turn. But actually it doesn't. No, he actually dismasses Osman. Builds another scientific method. So yeah. Wanderlust gets a pact accepted. Goes for Gandhi actually. Which I don't know if it does that much. I mean, they can now quite easily invest in more culture, but the Gandhi may not be that great. But this leaves internet on 2 selection range. I actually drew a variety, which I was able to seed. And I'm not in corruption range, so I can just do other stuff than build something. So internet will be the last wonder. So yeah, if I yeah, it's a big boost anyway for me, even if I get that prof spots or not. But in case I don't, I just want to take the movies this time. And also with having seeded variety, I want to go for this navigation at last. So maybe there's another colony, maybe not, but at least it's good for variety. And also gets me a bit stronger. There's actually economic progress, not seeded by me, but that's a very big boost for me. And this is the last turn for wars, and I don't think anyone really has big enough wars in the range. It just goes for a lot of economy, but he's a bit behind. Wolves maybe could have warred with double air force, but wouldn't be that great, and it would mean wrecking 2 things. So didn't feel like it. Probably maybe didn't have a war. He could actually go for 2 air force and still finish the wonder for sure next turn. So, but then he couldn't in that case wreck any of those mines. So just didn't. The cost was too steep. Starts building the wonder, goes for some techs. Still wants to have the air force. Maybe has something like impact of strength in hand. Otherwise, I don't know about any other reason to pick it now. Gandhi won't worry anyone, and I won't be worrying anyone, and the game will end. So probably has impact of strength. Wanderlust Seeds builds another theater, another multimedia. And actually I wolf seeded and real terrorism. Destroyed theater from Wanderlust, and H1 arena from Ian, and a multimedia from HC. So it was actually a very nice timing. It was just basically a free selection, since Wanderlust will be denying pro sports for 3. So I was happy with the tourism. I can just rebuild as movie. And yeah, also this turn, the previous round was Olympics round, so that was an added reason for no wars. But like this, I can go for movies. I have 41 rocks, so just easily build 3 movies. And then I decide to destroy another mine to put into another brain circus. So like this I will have enough rocks anyway next turn, and not too many buildings to put those rocks, so the only thing that it's affected is harmony, and also industry, but not, well, that could be in, but it isn't the biggest difference, and I don't want to destroy any alchemists to put into cultures, those will score for the internet anyway. But like this, I'm actually just 9 culture behind Wanderlust, and I have a internet finish, so looks good. There's about the strength right away, and I was actually just be able to even be second in this. Engineering, spaceflight 4. How many points was it? 27, so decent size spaceflight. But it's still quite a bit behind. Tries an aggression, doesn't work. Goes for the Air Force and, well, developing Air Force and within the agriculture. Creates farms, maybe if there's balance, could be very nice. Pops and builds another lab. Finishes the Wonder. Could have actually maybe made a bit of a trick there. Maybe could have put, since the strength was gone anyway, maybe to put an extra worker into a mine or farm and go for basically the same. But maybe if there's, yeah, you could have even maybe went for just putting another worker in mine, then disband and rebuild it as a military unit if he wished, just for one more extra point. Could have done it maybe, but at least like this he's in 6 harmony range. There's progress. It will score quite nicely other than Wanderlust. Goes for postports, builds one of those, and also religion, so maybe has a bit of an idea that variety could be in. Stack some cards. So for me, I don't have anything to see it. Science is just bad. I can actually pop once, build another arena, and then I make a bit of a fancy play. I just disband 2 knights, add 2 more religions, finish the internet, disband 1 temple, and put it into warrior, since it's one more with variety compared to just having it in religion. So a bit of a fancy ending here. And yeah, strength is gone, so yeah, there's competition, but those knights are only one culture apiece, so it's in a way a neutral or even better. I have a 40 culture lead before the impacts. There's happiness. I'm maxed out on that. Everyone actually did tech, played by probably wolvs or HC. Variety 22 for me. 16, 14, 16, so very nice. Nice impact for me. Architecture is pretty nice for everyone. Competition was in. And then there's government. So at the end I was able to win this. At some point it didn't look as good, but then again I prepared for the oil play in H3, and practically every time you can pull off an oil, it's just great. I could build 2 H3 wonders and just keep up with the military, having the warfare and PR also. So a nice result to start the worlds, and the other play game is now drawing its final breaths. So let's get back with that. But for now, I thank you for watching, and bye bye.